Every single roofer says the same exact thing. And so you're no different than anybody else. You are simply a commodity. You're like green beans in the grocery store. You got 4 bins of them. They all look exactly the same, so I'm just going to take the cheapest one. That's what most roofing companies are. I see so many people like give away free upgrades. Why would you do that? It costs you money. It should cost them money. But you look at that as a race to the bottom. That's how I gain an advantage, but you don't. You lose money. There's so much information available to you that if you just sat down, took a little bit of time and learned it, your results would be phenomenally better. And you would experience a lot more joy.
Have we normalized chaos?
We have normalized this idea that if we don't do, somebody else will, and they'll take what we deserve. And so we must keep adding. And so when it comes to this AI thing, we're not here to replace people. We're here to, number one, amplify the people you have. Allow them to produce more in less time, not adding more.
Have you found the thing that you have been missing?
The thing that was missing in my life was my Lord and Savior, Christ. Nobody's ever going to remember Jim Johnson. That's not my goal. I can't stand when people say, I'm building my legacy, because it always starts with I. I'm hopefully a reflection of my Creator.
Welcome to the latest episode of Season 2 of the Roofing Millionaires podcast, the only roofing podcast where we don't promote anyone and we don't sell you anything. In this episode, we are sitting down with Jim Johnson, a 28-year roofing industry veteran, founder of Contractor Coach Pro, and the man behind some of the most important ideas this industry has seen in last 3 decades, for a conversation that covers more ground than almost anything we have recorded on this show. We talk about the big squeeze, why roofing companies are working harder than ever and making less than they should, why your salesperson is probably closing at 26% when they could be at 50%, why most of the advice you have heard at roofing conferences is the right advice at the completely wrong time, and what AI is actually going to do for your roofing business, not the version being sold everywhere, but the real version. And at the end, we go somewhere most roofing podcasts never go. If you find value in this episode, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts so we can keep bringing conversations like this one for you. Let's dive in. Would you just briefly introduce yourself?
Briefly. 28 years is a long time to cover, but I'll do it as fast as I can. I got into the industry like a lot of folks. I think there was an opportunity. I actually answered an ad that said $75,000 to be a home inspector. So I thought I was going to go like inspect houses, but it turned out being the insurance restoration world. I had already spent a lot of time in the construction world. So I kind of knew both sides, retail and insurance restoration. Did pretty well. Got promoted to sales manager. I got stiffed on a bonus, started my own company. I grew that company to $25-30 million a year for several years. I made some mistakes along the way, treated people in a way that they shouldn't be treated, and had a pretty tough situation. Had a bookkeeper steal about $585,000 from our company. A young man that I looked at as like a little brother. I decided to go into business with her. He was my top salesperson. And so I was really kind of irritated, like, how could I help these people so much and help them get so far ahead in the world compared to where they were? And then stab me in the back is how I saw it. But what I really learned was I was pretty selfish. I treated them like human resources. I hate that term, by the way. I like team performance a little better nowadays, but they were something to be used. And when they weren't doing well, see you later. We'll get a new one. And that was a big moment in my life. It changed everything. I had a come to Jesus moment is the best way for me to put it. And I started to live a different way. Instead of being selfish, I wanted to be selfless and serve others as well as I could. I ended up doing very well with that company as we were able to transition. And that everybody thought I was weird. And like when I came in and said, hey, how can I help you? How can I serve you? They looked at me like a horn had grown out of my head, because that's not how I was before. It was literally like overnight. So we lost a few people because culture shifted. Whenever culture shifts, you're always going to lose some people that were used to it being one way, and now it's a new way. But rebuilt that, did really well with it. Ended up building a commercial operation as well that did quite well. We traveled around the country and handled big events, massive hailstorms or hurricanes. I did that for several years. Did quite well with it, sold it, and had built a piece of software during all that time called Silver Lining that was a measurement tool where you could add all the accessories on it and spit out an order for your suppliers and crews. And this is way back before even cloud computing. And cloud computing came out, and I was like, wow, I can actually distribute this thing now. Got a bunch of users on it. AccuLynx bought it from me, which AccuLynx wasn't even a thing at that point. They were just an idea, and they hired me to come in and be their director of sales. I came in and we made AccuLynx a thing. Probably the preeminent software in the industry, the first cloud software in the industry. And to see that do as well as it did was pretty awesome. But as I was going and meeting all these people about, hey, AccuLynx is great, technology is wonderful, we can do these cool things. Like, take all your information, go put it on the cloud out there instead of right here in your office. That's a terrible place for it. They were not real thrilled with that idea. That was a big shift for them. Like, I can keep it safe here. Well, out there, I don't know where it is. And the thought process is neither does anybody else. It's much more secure. We were able to overcome that, obviously. And I think the world has kind of overcome that. And, but all that time I was like, I would go in, so AccuLynx like an hour, and it'd be 2, 3, 4 hours of how'd you build a company like that? How'd you have that many locations? How'd you build a commercial operation? How'd you keep everything straight? What'd your processes look like? And, I kind of felt just compelled that maybe somebody should go and help them, because there wasn't really anything like a contractor coach back at that time. And so I let a few people know that that's what I was doing. They were gracious enough to engage with me. It went really well, and it continued to go really well for the last 14 years. It's been awesome coaching contractors and watching them. We're not here to see how big of a business we can build. That's not our goal. Our goal is to help them build the vehicle for them that delivers the lifestyle that they're looking for. That could be a highly profitable $5 million company or a massive $100 million company. There's different approaches and different things that need to be done. But our main thesis, just so everybody kind of understands, is that most contractors are actually trying to do the right thing in most cases. They're just doing it at the wrong time. And understand this idea of a scaling matrix, that when we're here, we've got to do certain things to get to there, to get to there, to get to there, to get to there. And they're trying to do the thing way up there because they heard some talking head talk about it, and it ends up submarining their business. But when we build them structurally like that, they do pretty well and last a long time. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. That's the background.
You just mentioned this right now. When culture shifts, people lose, or people just like walk out, or something happens, and the number of people in any market, they reduce. So after COVID, if we talk about roofing, we saw a boom and everything was going great. Everything is good. Everything was perfect, fantastic. But now things are changing. And with all the experience that you have and the things that you are working on right now, do you think that as an industry, roofing is going into a kind of a trouble?
That's such a good question. I would say it's evolving. I don't know if troubled is the right word. Any industry is going to exist, and especially, it's one of the things I love about roofing. It's almost impervious to economic shift type stuff. People need roofs. It's the number one thing that protects their entire home, which is usually their largest investment. And so when it fails, they need it. It's not a want or anything like that. If there's storms, that's another situation where it has to be replaced. So it was kind of recession proof. But for the first time ever in the history that I can remember, it had a significant regression. And so I've been doing this, like I said, 27, 28 years. And to see a 40% drop in supplier sales, roofs being put on, opportunities for people to meet with customers about their roof across the board, across the country. There were some small pockets here and there because there was a random little storm. But last year, there was not a hurricane that hit our coastline, which is the first time that I can ever remember. There was a lot less hailstorms and tornadoes and stuff like that. And so that played a factor. Like, you have that thing going on. You also have this consolidation thing going on, where there's a bunch of roofing companies all consolidating up, and they're struggling to get everybody on the same page and culture and processes and systems. And it's difficult to compete against them because of their size, they're able to share wisdom across the board. And then, us smaller guys got to compete against them, which has been pretty fun as a coach. Like, we get to smoke those guys. It's a lot of fun. And I'm not against consolidation. I'm just against the way that it's being done out there right now. And I think a lot of people should ask a lot more questions before they go and sell their business, but that's a whole nother story. The reality is that the profits being squeezed three-dimensionally, I think, is the best way to think of it. You've got the top line. So market price, like what you could charge somebody, is starting to hit a ceiling where they're starting to think about it more. especially because of economic reasons. Things have gotten more expensive. And so a roof that was $12,000, $15,000 just a few years ago is now $20,000, $22,000, $25,000. That's a significant investment. People are going to think about that a little bit more. They're going to hold on to their money a little bit tighter. And they're going to be a lot wiser about what they spend. So if you're just Joe Schmo roofer and you're out there writing estimates and hoping to win on your estimate, you're probably going to get smoked. It's not going to be good for you. If you understand how to sell on value, that's a whole different equation. That's some of the things that we teach. But we're hitting this price thing at the top, but our material and labor prices are rising from the bottom. So think price pushing down like a ceiling, and then your material, labor, and overhead in general, like employees and stuff like that, are rising. So what that does is squeezes the thing in the middle, and that thing in the middle is your profit. But it's also being squeezed like walls coming in. Because like you said, we've had a boom for the last several years in roofing and all exterior contracting, just contracting in general. And so we build our businesses going, hey, we need to build this infrastructure because we're going to grow again. We're going to add another 20, 50, 100%. Some people would like to grow a lot in 1 year. And so you add a bunch of infrastructure, which is people, technology, buildings, trucks, which are all overhead and all an expense. But when you don't grow and you actually stagnate or decline, that extra expense that you have invested eats away at your profit. So you've got it squeezing you in all three sides. And that's what I call the big squeeze. That, how do we handle these material labor prices rising? How do we make sure that we can charge what we're worth in an economy that's pretty tough? And how do we run our businesses lean so we don't get squeezed by the overhead side of things? And I'm actually going to be doing a whole 3-month thing with 10 contractors just on that. And so it's one of those things. It's the number one thing I'm hearing as a coach. Hey, our year sucked last year, but we didn't make anything. We might have even done as much as we did before, but we made less, and it was harder to do. And in most cases, they didn't do as much as they did before, but they had that big overhead infrastructure, and it killed them. And so I saw the problem, went to work on it pretty heavily, and we're bringing out some stuff to help with that. What I'm saying is most contractors out there, the way they compete is on price. We're a good roofer with great service and we're wonderful people. Every single roofer says the same exact thing. And so you're no different than anybody else. You are simply a commodity. You're like green beans in the grocery store. You got 4 bins of them and they all say a certain price for each one. They all look exactly the same. So I'm just going to take the cheapest one. That's what most roofing companies are. It's the roofing companies that have understood that if they can create something unique and proprietary to create value, not only can they charge that top line in their market, they can actually be above it because the homeowner, us as human beings, while we are smart with our money, don't get me wrong, we still want things. We are wired that way. We want the best. It's actually human psychology. There's been millions of studies about it, but we like things that are on top. You go in our grocery stores and whatever the most expensive grocery or wine or whatever it is that you're buying, it's going to be on the top shelf. We actually use that term when we go to the bar. I'd like top shelf liquor. That's because we think that's the best because it's on the top shelf, it's the most expensive and all that other good stuff. But we don't just buy it because of that. We buy it because it truly is better. It tastes better. It is better for you. And so if you had those same green beans and you knew that one of them was organic, good for you, no pesticides, all that kind of stuff on it, would you spend a little more on it? Absolutely. And so that's the idea for roofing contractors. And it's built into this thing that we call the NeuroStory selling methodology, that we have to understand that there are certain things going on in every human's mind. And because of those things, if we deliver things in the right order, with the right reasons and the right solutions, the odds of them buying from you go up greatly. The average close rate out there right now is somewhere between 26 and 30% for most contractors. And that's because what they're doing is they're going, hey, I'm going to take some measurements. I'm going to write up an estimate for you. Here's the estimate. They give a little bit about what they do. And do you want to go with us? Like that's the end of it. There's actually no logical reason they should choose that company over any other company. So they choose the one that's the cheapest. But if they gave them some logical reasons, like the way they protect their house, the way they do safety on their job site, what makes their installation different than anybody else's, and it truly is different, how they clean up afterwards, what they do for a final inspection, how the money works. If they laid out the whole plan for somebody, that makes logical sense to people. I like those things. They're better. I'll buy from you. And so we have to become a little more professionals, especially when it comes to sales, than just hoping that a good estimate wins the deal.
You just mentioned about 3 levels, and you also said that we need to be more focused on sales. So, does that make this concept of big squeeze just another sales process that roofing contractors need to improve in order to improve their positioning in front of the homeowners so they can compete on value instead of price? Or is there anything else that happens in the internal side of a roofing business as well?
Yeah, so let's talk math first. You can actually go to our website and all that stuff. You can go do this. If you just took the leads that you already have, saying, hey, this is the number of leads that I've had for the last 12 months, and I got the same amount of leads for the next 12 months. If you were able to move your closing percentage from 26 to 35, your marketing expense goes down. Your profitability goes up. Your people are busier and happier. But nobody puts the time into training, truly training on sales. Most of the time they're learning like a parrot or a mimic. This is the thing that I've always done that has worked for me pretty good. Let me teach it to you and say what I say. But there's no science behind it. There's no psychology behind it. There's no methodology behind it. And so you just hope and pray that everything goes well. Now, there are some good programs out there. Top Rep is a great program. It's actually built off of our Neuro Story selling method. And there's some other great teachers out there. But there's a method to doing this that's super important. You have to build rapport first. And this method isn't new. Don't get me wrong. What's new about it is the science underneath it and the understanding of it, so you're not a parrot anymore. You need to become a pro, a master. You need to understand why these things are happening and when they happen so that you can not be a parrot, but handle the conversation authentically. I think is the best way to think about it. Because you have steps. You have to get rapport, which means you have to get trust. You have to be an authority. All of those things have to happen first. You have to actually be likable, and I want to talk to you. And so there's this first piece of things that happen. Once that's established, then you can start to set some expectations of what's going to happen, what an inspection looks like, what they're going to get. And most people are out there selling a roof all the time. That's their whole thing. They're selling a roof. Hey, Mr. Jones, I've been working with your neighbors, and they've had damage to their roof. You probably have damage to your roof. Let me do an inspection, and we'll see if we can get you a new roof. Like they finish like that, right? Oh, my guys don't do that. They sell the inspection. We sell the first sale first. The inspection should be something truly valuable, not just 5-10 pictures to say, hey, look, you got damage to your roof. There should be an actual inspection, something tangible that they could walk away with. This no obligation, even if they don't go with you. We're supposed to serve people, do right by them. Go do a great inspection, be a professional about it, give them a report with it. That report, if you walk up to the door with that and say, hey, I got this report I'm going to give to you whenever I'm done, you're already different than everybody else. Nobody else gives you a report. But by giving them that's something tangible that they would get that day, they say yes, instead of, well, I'll come back later. I'm talking to other contractors, all the other stuff. Because you just got something new that they didn't see before that's valuable to them, where they perceive it to be valuable. So I go do this great inspection, and sure enough, I have a whole listing of everything that's going on with it. I have pictures, 40, 50 of them. They watched it while I was doing it because I sent them a link and said, hey, watch the inspection. I'm going to take pictures. You don't have to go out there. You can just like bringing the roof down to you. And then we go over everything and they go, wow, there's a lot here. That's a lot to know and a lot of things. And it looks like I have a problem. What do I do next? Well, whether it's meet with an insurance company, pick out products if you're in retail, whatever, the next step, we handle that next step. So if it's insurance, first thing we got to do is file a claim. We got to meet with your adjuster. We've got to make sure that they cover everything, not just some of the things. And then once we get approval, then we'll pick colors. And so you kind of pick up there again in the retail world. Like that little insurance thing is just inserted right in the middle of the insurance world or the retail world. And so if I get it approved, we're going to pick colors. We're going to, so that's logistics. We're going to pick colors, deliver it, inventory it, all that good stuff. And then when we show up, we're going to set up this way. We're going to protect your house that way. We're going to set up our safety system this way. We're going to install everything in this. And this is the linchpin. Can you install differently than anybody else out there and prove it? Because most everybody super proud of building to manufacturer specs and building codes. I look at you like, dude, you passed. Great. You made a C in school. You just got a passing grade. I'm here to make an A plus because we're going to do this and this and this and this that goes beyond manufacturer specs and building codes with better products and better accessories. That's what makes us uniquely different. but I'm not going to give it to them either. I see so many people like give away free upgrades. Why would you do that? It costs you money. It should cost them money. But you look at that as a race to the bottom. That's one of those, that's how I gain an advantage, but you don't, you lose money. But if you can package it all together into something unique and proprietary, you can sell the value. You can sell the gold label and really kind of think of it that way as something premium or premier or signature, that kind of stuff, that your system is set apart from everybody else. And so instead of, have you ever heard of the blue ocean, red ocean concept?
Yes. Yes.
So red ocean, everybody's over there fighting in the red ocean on estimates and price. I'm over here in the blue ocean with my great system and the way that we do things. It's different from everybody. And I can actually prove it to you that that's what homeowners want. Here in America, I don't know about you. You're in Pakistan, right? I don't know how it works over there, but over here, we go and buy our cars, right? We have lots of room. We drive a lot of cars around over here. And whenever you go into a car lot to buy the vehicle that you're going to buy, you don't walk up there and go, hey, what's the cheapest one you have here with the roll-up windows and the AM, FM radio? You go look around and you go, oh, look at that one up on the stand over there. Look at that one in the showroom over there. That's the one I want. Man, that thing is smoking. That's an awesome looking vehicle. And you walk over, you look at it. The salesman comes over, he shows it to you. It's amazing. And then you look at the price tag and you go, whoa, holy cow. I don't want to spend $150,000 on a vehicle. Well, maybe we should take a step down. And that's how we buy. We look at the top and then we move down a little bit. So if you give the options that, hey, this is the best that we do, and they see the price and they go, whoa, that's too expensive. Oh, well, what should we take off? Which should we take off that fits your needs? And so you put the buyer in control. That's called a give up to get close. So many people do good, better, best. Like they have these 3 packages and here's good, better, best. I really like give up to get. It's like being on a car lot and saying, hey, design my car for me. Or being on an online buying site for your car and building it out. Let's let the homeowner build it out. Before, you couldn't do that. There wasn't a technological tool that allowed you to do that, but that's actually something, like I've been really quiet lately. That's where I've been, secret bunker, building these types of tools. And it's just a lot of fun to help these guys as much as possible. So that's, if I just move the needle in sales, I would radically shift the squeeze. But what if I could get higher quality leads from a guy like you, right? What if I could do that? What if I could get higher quality leads? So maybe 10% more leads. What does that do to my final number? So everything's a math equation. You should really think about that in your business. So that's marketing and sales. On the other side, like infrastructure, think material and labor. My materials. Could I go to my supplier and say, hey, man, I've been buying a lot of materials from you. I'm not paying these raised prices. I expect to pay this, or I want to get a better rebate. Or if I buy this amount, could I get a rebate? Have you negotiated at all with your suppliers? If you haven't, you should start yesterday. And they're all going to be mad at me. They always call me whenever I say something like this. If your supplier hasn't given you a discount in the last year, you should be going to them, talking to them. Because I guarantee you other people are, and they're getting those discounts. So that's your material. Isn't what it was even 2 years ago. We don't have as many jobs. If you can supply those jobs, you have leverage, and you shouldn't be paying the rates of 2024 in 2026 because there's this thing of supply and demand. And what's more important to a crew than anything else is to stay busy. So if I can negotiate down just a little bit, but keep them busy so they don't miss a day, that missed day is way more important than $2, $3, $4, $5 per square. But we don't want to do that because we don't look at it as business. We look at it as like teddy bears. Nobody wants to tell anybody the bad news. But hey, you got to share the bad news when the bad news exists, or you're going to be out of business and nobody's eating. So those are the 3 main things. The other thing is, in the past, to scale up, or you would have to hire a bunch of people, right? Like, I want to hire a whole bunch of sales guys. To do that, I need all this administrative staff and production assistants and job supervisors and administrative staff. You just have a bunch of staff that you have to do to support that scaling up. But with AI today, you can actually take some of those tasks, not all of them. We're not here to replace people. We're here to amplify people, to take this small group of people you have that are good and amplify them in a way that they can scale up to handle any influx of business. But when it scales down, you're not firing people. You're not losing a valuable person because you built so big that now we've had a downturn. You have to let everybody go. Nobody enjoys that at all. You can automate a lot of systems, and you can actually add intelligence to a lot of systems to run really lean. So that's really the third component. How do we run lean in our businesses? So more leads, higher closing percentages, negotiating our material and labor, and ultimately running lean using the power of AI. I've, I know people have varying opinions on AI. I've been able to see it and where it's headed, and it's here. It's not going away, everybody. Like, we need to understand that. And if it's not going away, how do I use it responsibly, morally, and ethically? Because if we don't, the people that aren't moral and ethical certainly are. So we need to do something about that as well. And that's all part of this big squeeze. We're actually calling it the compound sprint. And so the compound effect, how do you compound effect between all four of those things, adding another anywhere from 5 to 7% to your bottom line? How much of a difference would that make to your company?
Jim, I'm going to come back to AI and materials and labors. But before that, you just mentioned something about selling the inspection. And I can remember a book that I read like 2 years back. It was named Sell the Meeting. It was maybe written by Scott Chanel or someone. And that book tells something like this as well, that in every step of your sales process, you have to sell that step only instead of the entire process. But the question that I have is that every guest that comes to this show, or even if I look at them online, they repeat these same things, that you have to take good pictures, you have to do this, you have to do that. But when in the moment, when you have to take action, they don't do these things. Maybe, but I have concluded this. Our brain just wants to feel good. Like if someone is listening to this conversation right now, it feels good to plan that, okay, next time when I am having an inspection, I'm going to do this, this, and this. But in the moment when you are actually having the inspection, what feels good? Just trying to sell the roof. That feels good to our brain. So why we don't see all this knowledge being implemented actually in the roofing companies? Because you guys, you are all telling them, teaching them, but yet we don't see that much implementation.
I'll give it kind of two things that we need to pay attention to. Number one, humans are inherently lazy. They'll do as little as they possibly can to get away with whatever they can, especially with sales guys. And I'm speaking from my position. I was one for a long time, and I followed that roadmap for too much of my career. Once I learned that where the real joy was, where the real feeling good was executing at a very high level as a master, that whenever I walked into every single home, I knew they were going to be my customer. I didn't have a doubt. Now, did I get every single one? Absolutely not. Because some people weren't my customer, and I could recognize that and say no to them before they could say no to me. And there's certain customers I just don't want to work with, and you should have that attitude too. One of the best tools of a sales guy is say no. We say yes way too much because that feels good, as you would say. But I think it's lazy. I think it's because you don't have a better answer. You don't have the tools. You haven't practiced. You haven't learned from the masters. The Zig Ziglars and Tom Hopkins and Sandler Sales, and just there's so much information available to you that if you just sat down, took a little bit of time and learned it, your results would be phenomenally better. And you would experience a lot more joy because you'd not only help a lot more people, but you'd make a lot more money. The money's not the goal. That's the thing. That's the one thing I hope everybody gets out of this. The money's not the goal. The goal is to help and serve people in a way that they've never seen before, to create a wow experience, to go, wow, man, Jim was awesome, and I want to tell everybody about him. Because the byproduct of that is what you desire, which is the money. I don't desire the money. I desire to help and serve people. The money byproduct just happens. Like if I do a great job for people, more people are going to want me to do the thing I do for them. Whether you're selling roofs or selling cars or running a coaching business, whatever it is that you do, if you go in and you put your full effort and truly look to serve somebody else well, set yourself aside for just 1 second to do right by somebody else, you will never lack for business. Never. But in order to do so in sales, you must be a pro. You must understand the methodologies and the science. I mean, there's so much human behavior, so much psychology, so much body language. There's lots of things going on. And once I figured that out, like, wow, there's so much going on, it really became like a hunger for it. Like, wow, I really want to master this. I want to understand that when Muhammad is like this, he's actually really paying attention. He's paying attention right now. He's learning something. What else could I share with him to actually get him to lean forward, to draw him into what it is that I'm saying? How could I provide a solution based on everything that he said that fits his needs the best way possible without me being focused on my commission. You do that, you'll change everything, 100%.
Earlier in the interview, you mentioned that people need to buy things. And I would add to this that some people also love spending. Like some people are even at a point that they love spending and they make it as a status symbol. Like they think that if I spend more, I will be more lovable and I will be seen as some charismatic guy in my community or in my family or in my friends group. Is that a problem? Because that is a part of this big squeeze or compounding sprint that you are working on as well. I am guessing that you have to cut your costs as well. I think so that is a part of this too. So what I have noticed is that roofing contractors love spending money on things that they don't need, whether these are software, tools, equipment, or anything else in their business. So you have like more than or almost 3 decades of experience in the roofing industry. What are the things that you feel roofing contractors waste money on? And if they actually have to survive and if they have to take advantage or be a part of this compounding sprint, they need to get rid of these spending habits.
I was one of those guys, just so you know, early on in my career. Man, I made more money than I ever knew what to do with. And man, I had best truck, sports car, beautiful house, all the toys that you can imagine, boats and ATVs, and you just name it, everything. And so that's kind of the personal side. But in the business side, we get caught up with every shiny new object. Like there's this new thing, this new piece of technology, this new tool to use with my installs. All this, hey, I'm getting distracted by what I'm really after, which hopefully what you're really after, and just so you know, serve people well and have that put money in your bank so that that money you can do something well with. You can steward it well. And that's something that we don't do real great in our industry is steward our money well, because all these other people that work for you rely on you to do that. They rely on you to make proper investments. And so what the trap is there's so much of this, me and you talking and other people talking, and there's such volume behind everything that's conferences, bows, and everything is the newest, shiniest, coolest thing. And so we have to have it because if we don't get it, somebody else is going to get it. They're going to get ahead of me. We're so worried like this thought of scarcity. But there's really a lot of abundance out there, and I don't need all that stuff, especially down here. I might up here, and that's that whole idea of doing the right thing at the wrong time. I mean, you go hear a talking head say, I did $30 million this year, and I put 10% towards marketing. So you come home and you put 10% towards marketing in your $3 million business, and you don't have that to spend because it's allocated to other things, and you literally submarine your company when there was other things that you could have been doing and gotten just as good of results because of the size you are. And that's the thing, like if we don't have that plan, and this is something we do, this is from the beginning, Muhammad, every single client we work with, we start with what's the dream? What are you actually after? And most of the time, what they share with us first isn't the dream. They want to build this big company, 30 million, 50 million, 100 million, whatever the number is. But when we actually dig into it, most of them want the same thing. They want a well-oiled machine that allows them to live the life they want to live. That's ultimately what it is. We help them define that further. We use this tool that's a strategy tool, and we actually design that strategy from where do you want to be big as the dream? Then we bring it back down into vision, like, hey, 3 years from now, what is it going to look like? What do we have to do this year? And so that thing that we have to do this year is your guardrails from the shiny objects. It's hey, that wasn't on my plan. I'm not doing that right now. This is my plan. I'm going to go execute that plan. If I do it well, I'm going to take one more step, and maybe I do that next year. But this year, I got to do these 3 things. If I do these 3 things, this will happen. And we facilitate that with our clients. We help them walk through those things that are the most important thing to do right now, and they grow like crazy. I have to put the reins on them all the time. Shiny object, stay away from it. What did we say we were going to do? Let's do that. And so I think this actually comes down to 2 things, discipline and accountability. Why all the problems that you're bringing up to me, like why salespeople don't do the things they know they're supposed to do. Why do owners spend the money when they shouldn't spend the money? It's a lack of discipline and a lack of being accountable to something. But whenever you build out a strategy, it gives you something to be accountable to. And especially if you share it with somebody else, like your leadership team, now you're all on the same page and everybody goes, hey, wait a minute. We didn't say we were going to go buy a $100,000 truck this year. That isn't part of the plan. How do we justify that? It doesn't mean we can't do it, but how do we justify it? And we hold each other accountable on that stuff. If you don't have that in your world, You need to put it in immediately. Like, that's just the way it works in business. We got to be disciplined with the blessing that we've received to steward it well, because there's so many other people that rely on eating in our home. That's what this thing is.
I was gonna ask the question about the things that you are doing about AI, but you just mentioned that so many roofing contractors come to you and they tell you that we want to build this 5 million, 10 million, or 20 million company, but then you dig deeper into their mind and you come up with their actual purpose, or I would say that you allow them to come up with their actual purpose, which is ultimately to live a happy life with their family. That brought me to a question, Jim, that have we normalized chaos so much in this society or in this business world that most business owners that I deal with, I don't know what's your experience, of course you have way more than mine. I feel so that the chaos has been normalized so much that we think that, okay, this chaos is normal for this time being, but 15 years from now, everything will be normal. 20 years from now, everything will be normal. But who knows that you are going to live for that 20 years, or who knows that you're going to see that future that you are preparing for? What's your take on?
This might be my favorite interview, Mohammed. Yeah, we have normalized, especially in Western culture. We have normalized this idea that if we don't do, somebody else will, and they'll take what we deserve. And so we must keep adding. And it's from the dawn of time. Like, every new technology has created this, and it's been sold off the fact that, hey, this is going to save you an immense amount of time so that you can spend time with your family and do whatever, right? But we don't do that. We fill the time with more production. That's what we do, because we feel like if we don't, somebody else is, and we're going to fall behind them. It's operating from a place of fear and scarcity instead of confidence and abundance. I mean, I think we need to really kind of maybe sit down and take a break for just a second and think about that. There's plenty out there. It's funny, I've been studying that a lot. Do you know that there's more money, okay, like more money than there's ever been before? Okay, more wealth. And if you just took the wealth that is non-operational right now, so exclude all the operational and the non-operational wealth, it's about $4 trillion. And you just invested that, like said, hey, okay, it's not operational, so we could invest it. Let's go invest it. And you took just 5% interest, like earned 5% on it, which you're going to earn more than that, but let's just be really conservative. That 5% could solve world hunger, could solve homelessness, could solve education, could solve healthcare, like all these things that we actually really care about. Those are the things we actually really care about when it really comes down to it. I can prove that too. Man, if you've had a storm anywhere where you live and it was devastating, fire, flood, hurricane, tornado, whatever, everybody forgets everything else. They don't ask what color you are. They don't ask what you believe in politics. They don't care what religion you are. They just go help you. They just go, that's what we really want. What's what we're driven by. Yes, I do believe we're wired for chaos. I believe it actually comes from a source. Hellenistic society back in Greek and Roman days is kind of where it all started. And we've just carried it on throughout all of these centuries and kept adding on to it. And so I have a caution that I want to give people, because I do believe AI is radically, like nothing else before, going to give you back time that you couldn't have gotten any other way. The smartphone, the computer, the internet, and all these things are supposed to do that, but we filled the time back up with more production. AI is going to give you that time back. Go give it to the people that you want to give it to. Your wife, your kids, your family, your community. If you've been feeling nudged to like, hey, maybe I should serve the least, the last, the lonely, the people in the margins, go do that with the time. Go pursue your passions. Maybe you want to paint or take pictures or write or do whatever. Go pursue. You're going to be a lot happier. And people aren't going to get ahead of you. They're just not. Quit worrying about that. You might find that that thing that you do, whatever it is, that you have a passion for, that you've been putting off forever and saying, I'm going to do someday, might just give you that thing you've been missing. Because I think most of us sit there in the quiet times at night, laying in our bed right before we go to sleep, and we're so worried and we're so anxious. And it's because you haven't actually chased the thing that gives you fulfillment and joy. So that got off of business stuff and the big squeeze, but yeah, man, it's we absolutely chase chaos.
Let's talk about AI for now. You mentioned, I forgot what you said, that you are working on AI and that is going to help roofing contractors replace people in their company or something like that. What's
No.
Yes.
That's not what I said. I'm not here to replace people, and I don't think AI should be looked at that way. The way it should be looked at is a neutral thing. It is going to be what it's going to be in the hands of humans. And so there's going to be a lot of humans that desire chaos, and they're going to be on that side over there. There's going to be another group of humans that desire order. They're going to be on this side over here. Far less of the ones that like order than the ones that like chaos. And so if we aren't responsible enough as people that desire order and joy in our lives, and we don't embrace this thing, those guys over there are going to rock our world. It's not going to be good. And so when it comes to this AI thing, we're not here to replace people. We're here to, number one, amplify the people you have. Allow them to produce more in less time, not adding more. I actually hope that through this, people get paid what they get paid and work 20 hours a week because we're reaching the level of production that's necessary for the goals that we're trying to achieve instead of just filling that time. Now, in all honesty, will AI replace people's jobs? Sure. I'm going to be transparent about that. But part of our ethos with this new thing that we're building, it's called Binge, just so we can put a name to it. A part of our ethos is those people that do get replaced, we want to empower and enable to work in this new AI world. We want to teach them and train them and show them so that they can find that value and worth in the work that they do. Because every other technology that's come along before, everybody was scared it was going to take people's jobs. The computer, the robot. And it did take people's jobs, but it created a whole bunch of new ones. And AI is doing that right now. It's creating jobs like crazy. Now, the biggest difference between all those things before and this thing is how fast it's going to be. It's going to be the fastest it's ever been. And so we can't just sit back and wait and hope that, hey, this plays out the way we want it to play out. We need to invest some time and some learning. It's all I've been doing pretty much for the last 2 years is really learning this thing and going, is it what I think it is? And it is. There's no doubt. What we actually want to replace is your entire technology stack. This stack of things that we use, CRMs and documentation tools and signed document applications and you name it. There's a million of them. My average company has 12 different pieces of technology in their stack. The only one we're not looking to replace pretty much is QuickBooks because that's your financial source of truth. We want your business source of truth, and we can actually do that. We're going to replace all of those things, and we want to give it to you for free. That's a pretty cool thing. We're going to give the platform for free. So all that cost that you've got going out towards technology every day, we want you to take that number and we want you to hire the agents that we've created to run your business for you. Not the baseline people. It's that C-level group of people that you haven't been able to hire because they cost too much.
Can you give me an example? How does that look like in real life, like working with Binge?
Sure. I'll give you a good example. I'm a $5 million contractor. And me personally, like sitting there as a $5 million contractor, I likely don't have a Harvard business degree. I likely don't have a marketing degree or master's. I likely don't have a CFO financial degree. I likely don't have those things. So what I'm doing is I'm doing the best I can. And I tend to take on a lot of it myself, doing something that I'm not great at, trying to figure it out, or I hire the least that I can hire. I hire a bookkeeper because at least I'll keep my books straight. I don't hire a CFO. Oh man, that guy's $150,000, $200,000 a year. I don't hire a professional sales manager. I hire my best salesperson to hopefully teach people to do what he does and pay him a little spiff on top because that professional guy, he's $300,000 a year. I don't hire a CEO, which is what I really need, to run my business for me as the general management perspective of my business that understands all of those things because that dude, he's really expensive. And so that's what we're creating is that level there that can help you run your business like a true business person and can actually teach your people how to learn how to do those things. So think of it as like, I can still have a sales manager. I can still have a production manager. I can still have an office manager. But this layer in between that I really needed to run my business the way I needed it to across all departments doesn't exist today. And it costs too much. It's about $1 million. Like 1.2 is what we figured it out to be that these agents that have been built would replace. And they're unbelievable. And one of those agents is actually a developer. Top line Silicon Valley developer, which you could never hire. Those $300,000 a year, and you wouldn't even think of it for your roofing business. And the ones that have are like bleeding money right out the door to development. Well, this agent actually takes the operating system that we've given you and says, all right, we have this operating system. Let's check out the way your workflows work. Okay, now that we know how your workflows work, boom, let's create that. Bam, done. 5 hours. There you go. Overnight, I've got my workflows in this operating system that cost me nothing. Now, what is that operating system that you've been using all these years not able to do that you would like to do? You've asked for it as a feature. You've wanted a report, whatever it may be. There's been tons of that. What is it? And you tell it, and it builds it. That's what software is becoming. That's what AI can do. This is the way the world is headed. It's not adding on to what you're already spending with AI, right? So there's a lot of AI tools out there that, hey, there's this agent that does your marketing. There's this agent that does your sales. Hey, there's this agent that does this or this or this. Just connect it to the things you already have, and it can do the things for you. Well, the problem is you still have all those things that cost you a lot of money. You still have the CRM and the photo app and the presentation app and all the other stuff. You have all these things that you're paying literally tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for each and every day. If that's the case, you're just adding more expense to your tech stack. We're actually trying to reduce it. We're trying to cut it in half. We think people pay way too much and they get killed by user fees, and we want to make sure that that's not how technology moves forward. That's how we're handling things with Binge. That's what we're doing to help folks out. And whether you choose what we do or not, just know that's where it's headed. Stop adding on and start being a part of something that can change with your instance. We have an agent, and we actually call them super agents. Like, they're built off of a different approach and different technology than most anything that you would see out there. And this super agent is a Silicon Valley level top line developer, architect, UI expert, bug fixer, all of it. And so whenever you're working on the Binge OS platform, that developer can ask you, hey, your platform worked like this before. What were all the things that were missing? What features had you requested that you would like to have? And so what we call this is neuromorphic. That's a new term. We coined it. Like, I don't think that thing exists, but it's the idea that I have an instance of software that's built, managed, and run by AI that's unique to me. There's a platform that it's built off of, but it's unique and different to me. It's not like what we traditionally have had with software where this is the software, use it as it is, and I hope it works for you. It's like, hey, this is what we have as a platform. These are the things that people do in home service or contracting. What would you like it to do differently? Would you like to put it in a different order? Would you like to have it say something different? Would you like to have a different feature? Would you like to have a different report? Just tell it and it'll build it for you. That's the wildest part for me. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And we've actually tested this. We were actually doing a demo with a client, one of the first ones. And one of his guys walked in and said, hey, I got to get this estimate put together and proposal for this commercial project. It's a lot like this one over here, but it's this company. And our guy was there. He's like, hey, just give me the old one. Give me the old one. And he puts it in. And this agent's name is Aurelius. And he says, hey, Aurelius, reference this document. And then I want you to take the information we're about to share with you and build a new document for this new project. And he goes, sure, got you. Tell me what we need to know. And so the guy said the name of the project, where it was, who the key players were, the things he thought needed, and just natural talking, like, hey, the things he thought about the job and how big it was and the things to pay attention to. Boom, done, document finished. Didn't have to create a whole new one, nothing like that. It's just done. And now it knows how to do it and can do it over and over and over and over again as many times as you want. Another example is, hey, I want to take pictures in this fashion, and then I want them to automatically be sent as a proposal to the client with this information. That's a new feature. That's not a new request. That's like a new feature. And you ask a software company to do that for you, you go, well, we'll put it on our list and we'll upvote it and hopefully it gets done in the next 6 months to a year. Nope, done. Like now. We don't have to wait for that stuff anymore. It's actually mind-boggling. It really is mind-boggling how well it does it and how well it looks at everything else that's around it going, hey, I understand the whole game, what we're trying to do here. This needs to go here. It needs to connect to those things. It understands, which to me is absolutely wild, a little bit uncomfortable, to be honest with you. I'm like, wow, man, that is like unbelievable. But it's where things are headed. And so it's this idea of, do I invest in AI and add it onto my tech stack so that it understands what's happening with my tech stack and that's just another addition, another expense? Or do I just say AI is my tech stack and it doesn't cost me anything and I can hire and fire these agents as I need them? I need that developer guy for the next 3 months. Go. I want that sales manager. And this is the one I love. Sales managers are really good at motivation, hanging out with their guys, doing some teaching and stuff like that. Maybe going on a sales call every once in a while. But that's really who they are. They're the relational part, right? Like they're that connection between the owner and the sales guys. It's relational. Hopefully they have some skills to share, but they're not very good managers. They don't follow up with all of the clients as well as they should. They don't follow up with the sales guys as well as they should. They don't keep the guys on because they don't have enough time. It's not their fault. They just don't have enough time. But what if there was an agent that did that all the time, constantly, staying on top of the sales guys? Hey, this lead right here was supposed to be followed up with today. There's no follow-up with it. This is what you need to follow up with. Would you like me to do it for you? Or I actually suggest that you give them a call today because they need a human touch. And it knows it that well. It gives a daily report of everything that's going on, all the jobs that are open, everything that needs to be handled. Like it's constant running like that 24/7. And so you're just going to be a lot more effective. I don't look at efficient because efficient means, hey, I bought some time and I'm going to go use that time to be more performing. You're more effective. And so if I can be more effective, I actually get time back, use that time. So that's a little bit about what we're doing with Binge.
Thank you for sharing that. And what I can get from this is that you are not trying to replace all these C-level executives and everyone. The example you just gave for the sales manager, I think so that is perfect, because the way I look at this is that there is one administrative part or executional part about each job, and then there is one emotional side towards each job. And humans will be left in the future for more of a kind of emotional work, and all the logical side or administrative side of any task will be handled by the AI. But the question here is that earlier in the interview, you mentioned that a sales professional or anyone should learn to say no first. So who is the roofing contractor that Binge says no?
That who says no to?
Binge, your platform.
Who is the contractor that Binge says no to? Hey, if you want to live in the Stone Ages, then we're going to say no to you. If you're not going to be curious enough to learn, we're going to probably say no to you. This is a new thing. And whenever you're doing a new thing, you tend to break a few things along the way. I hate the saying fail forward. You hear that a lot, right? Fail forward. Get some experience, go try things, and then come back and take 2 steps back, 2 steps forward. If the thing has been done before, stop failing forward. Like if somebody's run a great roofing company before and you know somebody that knows how to do that, go get the information from them and learn it. Don't go beat your head up against a wall figuring it out. This AI thing, though, that's a new thing. There is going to be that fail forward. Try some things, take a step back. Try some things, take a step back. We learn pretty fast, and that thing learns really fast. And there's a lot less of that lag time in between of the fail forward that we've had in the past. So the ones that we say no to would be the ones that are pretty much dead set that AI isn't going to be a thing, and that they just like doing things the way that they've been doing them for years. And there's going to be a lot of those guys. This follows the same thing. Like when we did AccuLynx, it's the same deal. There's early adopters. They're the risk takers. They like that kind of stuff. I'm one of those people. We try to be out in front of things. And I've been out in front over the years in this industry on a lot of different things. I tend to be able to see those things coming. And so there's those guys. And once they go, hey, I got this and it's going pretty good and that's working for me, they start telling other people, and you got the next wave, and that next wave comes in and says, oh, okay, this does actually work. And then it's kind of a hockey stick thing, like people at first, and then you get a little bit more, and then boom, everybody goes, yep, that's the thing. And you think about that, like smartphones when they first came out, man, you couldn't afford them. There wasn't very many of them. And then all of a sudden, early adopters, I was one of them. Hey, I got a smartphone. This is really cool. Like, check out what it can do. Like, check out this. Check out, and you're showing people. People are going to do the same thing with it. Check out what this can do. And it is amazing to me what this can do. And it'll be irresistible to show people like how you run your business. Like, check this out, man. I'm on the beach right here, and this is all happening right now in my company. And it is going to replace people. We need to be agile enough to figure out how do we participate in that so that we can be the people that drive those things forward. We can't get stuck in the dark ages, and you got to say no to the old way. You just got to.
You just said that there are a lot of people who sell you this fear of missing out, the FOMO, and they just sell you the newest, shiniest, and the coolest thing.
And here I am doing it.
Yes, what makes you different from all these people who are trying to sell all these contractors the newest, shiniest, and coolest things?
It's a great question. I knew you were going to ask it. I really did. I was like, he's going to ask this question. Well, first off, this new thing takes money away. It doesn't add more money on top. And we're always focused on that. How do we serve the contractor the best way possible? And I like to think my history has kind of proven that the new thing that I chase tends to be something worth at least listening to. I'm not saying do it, but at least listen to it. So as a contractor doing insurance restoration work, we were the first contractor to ever have a supplier. That wasn't even a term. Nobody even knew what that was. We called them a claim specialist. And so we took 2 people out of our sales team, put them behind a desk and said, call these insurance companies all day, every day, get these things negotiated out so my salespeople can go sell and go do what they do great. And it worked awesome. Matter of fact, I created a whole nother business off of that, the very first supplement company that existed. When it came to software and seeing how that works, we were the first CRM. We actually built it off an Access database inside of our company. We were the first CRM in this industry. We were the first measurement tool in this industry with Silver Lining. That got bought by AccuLynx, the first cloud-based software in this industry. And while, yes, those are new and shiny things, I tend to bet pretty well. So it's worth at least a listen, maybe a checkout. And what we're actually trying to do is not add new shiny things. We're trying to remove all the shiny things that you've gotten.
My last question to you is that, Jim, when you were telling me about buying back your time and using AI to buy back your time and spend that time with your family, you just mentioned something that maybe if you do that, you can find your hidden passion and maybe you can find the thing that you have been missing. So my last question to you is, have you found the thing that you have been missing?
Oh, yeah. I found that a long time ago. The thing that was missing in my life was my Lord and Savior, Christ, leading people to being a disciple, living a life that was obedient as well as I could be. I'm not perfect, man. I'm far from it. Jeez, I wish I was. But there's this thing in me that I love what's created here. This is amazing. Just go look at just go look at a tree. It didn't just magically happen. There's just too much going on between that tree and us and the grass and the birds and that's got to have some intelligent design. We could maybe all at least get to there like, wow, there was something that made all this happen. And then if that something came down and died for us, wow, shouldn't we maybe at least investigate that a little bit? And it was completely missing from my life. And what that ended up creating in my life was chaos. That's what humans are predicated towards. But the other thing, this God and this Savior that died for us is after order. And I like that word. It's so freeing. I don't worry now about any of this stuff. Nobody's ever going to remember Jim Johnson. That's not my goal. I can't stand when people say, I'm building my legacy. Because it always starts with I. I'm hopefully a reflection of my Creator so that other people see our Creator through me. That's all I care about. Don't remember my name. Just hopefully remember the impact and share it with somebody else. I feel like that's my purpose and my passion. So much so that I run a weekly contractor fellowship group. So we had like 22 people in there this week. We're all just talking about the Bible and what the Bible means and how it can affect our lives. I have a Substack that's called The Prosperous Human because I think Western culture has screwed up the word prosperous and it's not what we think it is. The most prosperous people I've ever met and the happiest people I've ever met usually had very little. They didn't have a whole lot of stuff and meant that they didn't have a whole lot of responsibility. And so what little they did have, they gave, and especially with their time. And they always walk around with a smile on their face. And that really bothered me. Like, why, how is that person so happy? And I'm over here so frustrated. So I started interviewing and talking to them. And I found this hey, prosperity looks different than what we think. So I write about that a lot. Yeah, I just want to share that stuff. Hey, how to live a better life. How to have a life that doesn't have a lot of weight on it. Christ took all that weight off of me. I'm free now. I don't have to worry about any of that. I don't know where you sit with any of that stuff or your listeners, but you asked, so I told.
Yes, I think so that most people will love that. And thank you for sharing that. And if anyone is listening or watching this interview and they are at this point right now, I just want you to know that Jim and we have made a commitment to record another conversation, and that will be purely about life. And what I can feel and sense from you, Jim, is that that's going to be one of the deepest conversation that I can have with someone about life as well, because you and I also feel that we need to observe things on a granular level, and which we don't. And every season I record 30 episodes. So this is the 22nd episode that we are recording. And I will love to have the last episode of this season with you, and that conversation will be about life. And I just thank you so much for your time, and just
Yeah,
wish
I
you the
actually
best
think it's
with
pretty
whatever you are
easy.
doing.
I think so many people are searching for purpose, like a life worth living, right? Like that's really what it's about. If life isn't worth living, what are you going to do? And that's really what bothers me is I feel like a lot of people out there are just living life day to day or week to week or paycheck to paycheck. And they're getting disenfranchised with what life is. And so how do you live a life that's worth something? And so followers of Jesus are constantly in this, I believe, now tell me what my purpose is. But it's actually there already. Love God, believe in me, go make disciples, love one another. That's our purpose. Just go do that. Man, you're going to be really happy. If you did just that, that would change the world. It would absolutely change the world. And you'd be so happy. Yeah, you have no idea. The joy I get to walk around with. The only time I don't have joy is when I'm disobedient. I'm like, man, I messed up again. That really sucks. I wish I wouldn't do that. And I do it more than I would like, but hey, I'm trying. I'm working hard at it. So I would love to have that conversation. Let's do it.
Thank you so much for your time today, Jim. I loved having this conversation with you, and I hope the audience finds value in this conversation. Thank you for your time again, and have a great day.
Hey, my pleasure. Anytime, man. Really appreciate you having me on the show.
Take care. Bye-bye.